Greetings, everybody. It's RPG Grandma. And now we move on to boarding melee for Warriors of Mars. So we did the grappling, we did the boarding. Now what happens after you get on the boat? Up in the air. In the interest of clarity, this table will be given here and again at the end of the work. Unless sufficiently high odds are obtained, melee will have to be fought before one side or the other manages to triumph. The relative force of each side is compared in order to come up with odds. Ratio 1 to 1, 3 to 2, etc. Boarding melee table. So we got odds ratios, and then we have the result. 1 to 1, so all things are equal. Compute casualties as in normal melee. And boarding melee continues. Next turn, recompute odds. 3 to 2. As at 1 to 1, both, but after casualties are computed, there is a 1 in 6 chance that the weaker side will become disorganized. 2 to 1. As 3 to 2, but there is a 3 in 6 chance for disorganization of the weaker side. 3 to 1. Compute casualties as in normal melee. Weaker side is disorganized. Stronger side is aboard. Weaker side's flyer. And boarding melee continues next turn, or recompute odds. 4 to 1. Compute casualties as in normal melee. Weaker side then surrenders. Stronger force captures flyer. The losing ship commander jumps off his ship to his doom. They don't have the part to doom, but you know, jumping off the ship when it's up in the air, that's bad. Using the example of the black pirates attempting to board the cruiser from helium, given above, the melee odds come out to about 3 to 2 in favor of the defenders. The 14 black pirates inflicted 4 casualties upon the helium knights, while they received in turn 3 casualties, inflicted by the normal component of the vessel plus 3 from John Carter. Or 6. Don't mess with John Carter. Assume that the firstborn do not become disorganized. If they are reinforced next turn by 7 gunner figures, their value will be 15 multiplied by 12 is 180. The helium knights have 9 figures times a morale value of 13 or 117. This then gives the attackers an odds ratio of 3 to 2. They inflict 4.5 casualties, and next turn, the Hemulites will receive a morale penalty of -1 for 50% casualties. The Heliumites will again inflict 6 losses upon their opponents, thanks to John Carter, as the Black Pirates will also suffer a morale penalty for 50% casualties. On the third round, there are only 9 attackers with a morale value of 11 for a force value of 99. The Heliumites have 5 figures times a morale value of 12 for 60. Another round at 3 to 2. No disorganization has been assumed. The attackers kill 3 figures, and 4 Heliumites score 1 kill, and John Carter another 3 for a total of 4. There are now 5 black pirate figures left alive and 2 defenders. The next round will see the lone Hemulite crewman figure killed, while 3 firstborn take the final plunge. The 2 remaining black pirates can only wound, score a partial kill. John Carter while he can wipe them out. Okay. So yes, it's a Barsoomian thing, just so we're clear, for the ship captain to jump off the ship when it's captured. That's their version, I guess, of going down with the ship. In that, yeah, it's in the books that way too. So it's a risky business being a ship captain. All right, so that's how melee is supposed to work on the ships. I'm taking a look here. I think we can move on to bombing flyers. Bombing ground targets will be dealt with in the following section. An occasionally Barzoomian tactic is to pass over the top of an enemy ship and drop keel bombs upon it. The total number of bombs carried by each ship, as well as the maximum number which can be dropped during a given turn, has been given previously. See Fliers. I read all that stuff off. When a flyer passes above an enemy vessel during the course of its move, regardless of at what point during the move this passing over occurred, dropping of bombs may be called for. The bombing player rolls 2 dice for each bomb, consulting the bombing table aerial targets, see back of the booklet. If his score equals or exceeds the base number as modified, a hit has been scored. Each bomb does 500 points of damage to a flyer when it hits. Assume that no critical hits or crew casualties or gun hits occur. However, as an optional rule, critical hits can be rolled for. Assume that each bomb acts as a whole top hit and record accordingly. The next section is air-to-ground combat, and it is fairly long, so that will be its own video. And then once we get through that, which also may or may not include ground-to-air fire, I may have to split some of this up. It's quite a bit. We will talk about personality figures, and then move on to Barsoomian races and animals. And then I believe I'll need to put pictures of charts together and get those up. And then we'll talk about the artist in this little booklet. And so I'll show you some art probably in the process there as well. And we will have actually gotten through the rules basically as they're written. Now, that'll bring us to how do you make armies for this? And obviously, when the boarding, they're talking about moving the figures around. Well, if you're using little teeny tiny ships, you can't be moving figures, or they won't fit on. So there's obviously a map scale change when you move to boarding. And then the little figures come out. I wanted to point that out. That has to be happening. Otherwise, it's not going to work. There's no way. The people are, get the microscope out. So that's something to keep in mind. You have to adjust your scale for what's going on in the game. So you need maps of the ships, is what I'm saying. At the bare minimum, you need maps of the ships and little chits or something. All right, so we will get on to more and exciting stuff, or at least building armies and whatnot, eventually here. But and how to proceed if you're going to play this game, which I plan to do. So I have a lot of planning to do because I'm running out of things to talk about. Anyway, everybody have a great day, and talk to you later.